haven't used that intro in a while, but I thought it might be appropriate. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is GiBi, which stands for Good Idea, Bad Idea. The main show that I have on my channel is called The Absurds. It's about going over the interesting, unique, terrifying people that I find while going down internet rabbit holes. People like Derek Savage and Spurrit, some of whom are good people, like the guy who made the Hampshire Project. That's a city of underwater hamsters. And some of them are bad people, like Chris Chan. And I make these little mini documentaries about all the stuff I find on them. And then, depending on the reaction that those documentaries get, I'll do follow-ups whenever there's a development in the story. And with Chris Chan over the last couple years, there have been just constant newsworthy developments. Basically every week, he would say something on his Twitter, or he would make a crazy video, and so I made my weekly Chris Chan update series. And as we probably all know, especially if you clicked on this video, last August, Chris was arrested. And he was arrested for alleged incest with his mother. And since then, he's been in jail. And as of right now, he's still in jail, although there was a short stint where he was in a mental hospital being evaluated. Over that time, the updates were more scarce. We weren't getting weekly updates, so my series became the Chris Chan Monthly Update series, where I would read out all of the letters that he was writing to people on the outside. Chris claims that he was writing to about 100 people outside of the jail, but only 2 or 3 or 4 of these people were actually leaking the letters that Chris was writing them and that they were writing back to Chris. So there weren't tons and tons and tons of letters to go through. Certainly not enough to make a weekly series, but more than enough to make a monthly series. I wasn't milking it so that every single time a letter came out, I'd make a video. It was just once during the month, I would talk about what happened. Then as we got closer and closer to Chris's hearing, I would make more news updates about what was happening, and then his hearings kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed until his most recent one, which was actually not delayed and went through, and Chris actually finally got his hearing. And part of the result of that hearing is that his case, his file, was sealed off from the public. I'm not going to be using correct legal terminology here. Later in this video, I'm going to be talking about some technological stuff, and I'm not going to be using the correct terminology there either. This is really just a rant. I'm really just rambling. Basically, the way that I understand it works is that people have a right to know where a prisoner is, because let's say you get assaulted by someone, and they're being transferred from one jail to another, or from a jail to a hospital, or they're being set free, whatever. You have the right to know when that's happening. So that's why there's this service in the state of Virginia that lets people know what's happening with any given prisoner. But because of the special interest in Chris's case, which Chris's lawyer said was both due to people who were legitimately updating the public on what was happening to Chris, and also people who were irresponsibly speculating about what was happening with the Chris case, they sealed his files. Basically because there was so much public interest and because of Chris's mental state, lack of a mental state. So for both of those reasons, they sealed Chris's file. So ever since Chris's hearing, we have no idea what's happening to him. If he's writing letters to people, then the people he's writing the letters to are not leaking them. I don't even know if he's capable of writing letters to people on the outside anymore. I think it would be a little much to prevent him from writing letters to people, especially since he's not been found guilty yet. Like, we let murderers do that, but we're not letting Chris Chan do that. Again, that's hypothetical. So basically, there's been no news on Chris. And that's the main reason that I haven't been making Chris Chan update videos, just because there hasn't been any. But there has been some updates in the world around Chris. I thought that my silence on the matter would be basically enough to tell my audience that there was no news. But as I said earlier, back in the day, back over the last year, I've been making monthly update videos, so it's reasonable for some people to think that it would take up to a month for me to respond to breaking news. And so it's understandable then that something would happen that they think is news, and then they would think that it's legitimate until I talked about it. Whereas I was sitting here thinking that me not talking about it would be enough to prove its non-legitimacy. I am, of course, talking about the rumors and speculation of Chris Chan escaping jail. In case you missed this incredibly stupid moment in history, there was a 4chan post in which somebody claimed that Chris asked to go to the bathroom during his hearing and then slipped out the window because, of course, courthouse and jail windows are very famous for the easeability for a very overweight person to slip out of them. This didn't gain traction for several days, but 4 days after it was posted, it was in fact trending on Twitter. Or at least Chris Chan was trending on Twitter. And a lot of people were discussing this 4chan post. Gotta take a hydration break. There's this video that gets posted and goes viral every couple months of this fat guy with long hair running down the street. It's kind of bad resolution footage, and he goes running down the street, and then a cop chases after him and tases him, and he falls on his face on the ground. And every once in a while, people will post that and be like, Chris Chan escaped jail. And some people who post it are doing it for the laughs, like, haha, this is what would happen if Chris escaped. Other people, I think, are posting it thinking that it's real, thinking that it's serious. And so, in conjuncture with this 4chan post where people said that Chris had escaped jail, people were posting that video along with the 4chan post saying Chris had escaped. So the narrative became Chris slipped through the window in jail, somehow, for some reason, stripped naked, was running down the street, and then somebody videotaped him getting tasered by the cops. No, that didn't happen. None of that happened. I'm now drinking a different kind of water, because you guys don't know this, but it took several takes for me to get from the last time I drank water to here, and now I'm very thirsty again. Similarly, there's this meme every time that there's a terrorist attack or a mass shooting or something, where Twitter accounts of like news stations or the police in the area, they'll tweet out something like, hey, if you have any information on who may have done this heinous crime, please contact the official number at this, that, or the other thing. You know, contact the NYPD if you know who may have done the shooting. And people will respond to all calls for information on a suspect with a picture of YouTuber Sam Hyde. And it's always the same picture of him holding up a gun. And then the meme is that Sam Hyde did it again. And so somebody posted a very similar image to that, but they kind of like photoshopped in Chris Chan's head. And they're like, Chris Chan spotted going over the Canadian border, fleeing the United States after breaking out of jail. And some people thought this was real, or at least some people pretended to think this was real, and then some other people thought it was real. So this is me finally setting it straight to all of my audience members, not just the people who follow me on Twitter, that no, in my expert opinion, Chris Chan did not escape prison, get tased by the cops, and flee to Canada. Chris Chan is still in jail. It's just that his file has been sealed, so we will not be getting updates from him, and it's possible that he's not allowed to write any letters, and so we will not be getting updates from him. And so with that said, there's not really going to be any Chris Chan updates for the near future. Now, coinciding with this entire story is the drama that is going on the Quickie and Kiwi farms. This is a much bigger story that I don't know all the exact details about, but from my understanding, and my understanding comes from tweets and a couple news articles that I saw. So all of those things are obviously biased against Kiwi farms. I didn't go on Kiwi farms. I didn't read the threads. I don't know what's actually on them. I'm not reporting this to you as a newscaster, as a journalist. I'm just telling you the general zeitgeist of what's happening. I'm telling you what's trending on Twitter. That's actually what my entire show, Week in Weird, is. I don't know why I pretend otherwise. So from my understanding, there's this famous trans streamer from Canada. Anyway, so they made a Kiwi Farms thread on this woman, and they doxed her. They had her personal information, her address, whatever. And then somebody, and I always make sure to clarify that it's not always the same people, because it's not. It only takes one crazy person in a group of 50 or 100 or 10,000 to do something stupid or crazy. But one person decided to swat her. So she woke up one morning, the police were at her front door, and they aimed a gun at her, and she freaked out, because anybody would. So this started her crusade against the Kiwi farms, because of course it would. Her personal information was out there on the internet on the farms. They were the ones who were mocking her, and it makes sense not only that the person who swatted her would get their information from the Kiwi farms, but that they were probably a member, although that's not necessarily provable. What apparently happened next is that the police started actually looking into the Kiwi farms to see whether a crime had been committed. It's not technically a crime to host private information like a dox on a website, but it is a crime to post that information in a threatening manner. So if you just post someone's address on your website, that's not illegal. But if you post someone's address on your website and you say we should go to their house and, shake our fist at them, that is illegal because it's the intimidation part that makes it illegal. So the police were investigating Kiwi Farms. And Kiwi Farms, and again, when I say Kiwi Farms, I do not mean the 10,000 people who visit the site regularly. I mean at least one user. People on Kiwi Farms decided to start doxing the police officers involved, which was a very stupid decision. So enough pressure was put on the website by this trans woman who got swatted, and now the police officers who are being doxed, that Cloudflare, who was not the service who hosted the domain for the Kiwi Farms, but who were a service that the Kiwi Farms used to protect from DDoS attacks, they dropped them as a client. So basically this big American company, Cloudflare, was no longer protecting Kiwi Farms from being overloaded with traffic. And so what happened is there was then a DDoS attack on Kiwi Farms. Basically what happens is too many people try to access a website at once, and so nobody can get in, and so the web page won't load for anybody. And if you do this with bots, if you have bots like try to fake entering the website and have like way too many people for the server to handle, then that's called a DDoS attack. So the Kiwi Farms was being DDoS attacked and it lost its protection. So it was down for a while. The Quickie, which is not associated with the Kiwi Farms, is hosted on the same server as the Kiwi Farms, which basically usually means that whenever one goes down, the other goes down. And so in this case, because the Kiwi Farms was being attacked, the Quickie was also not accessible. So in the same week that we lost all of our insight into Chris Chan, the Kiwi Farms and the Quickie, which both host information about Chris and also occasionally are the sites where you leak information about Chris, they went down. And so nobody could really discuss Chris anywhere unless you're a user of the Onion Farms, or you go on 4chan, or I don't know, there's a Chris Reddit, I'm sure, but they're not exactly the same magnitude of obscene that Kiwi Farms would be, and so they wouldn't talk about things in the same kind of detail, or necessarily talk about the same subjects. From what I understand, the server that hosted the Kiwi Farms and the Quickie, which was a Russian company, then actually dropped the Kiwi Farms, which is kind of crazy. It makes total sense that, like, an American or a British company or a Canadian company would drop the website because police officers and celebrities were being doxxed and attacked and whatever. But I'm shocked that a Russian company, and keep in mind that, like, Eastern European countries and Russian countries, they're the people who host things like the Pirate Bay. They do not care about American laws whatsoever. At least that's the stereotype. They dropped the Kiwi Farms, so now there was no server. And for a while, Noel, who's the owner and operator of the Kiwi Farms, said it was possible that it would never come back up if he couldn't find a hosting service for it. As of very, very recently, they have found a new hosting service for it. So Kiwi Farms is back up. Quickie is still down. And once again, that's because the Kiwi Farms is still being DDoS attacked. Although this news update could change at any minute because this is all still breaking news. I could be a day behind by the time this video goes up. So if you're wondering why the Quickie went down, and if it has anything to do with why the Kiwi Farms went down, yes and no. The Quickie is still down. Hopefully it'll come back up. It is available on Internet Archives and other such sites. Interestingly enough, Internet Archives, actually got rid of all their archives of the Kiwi Farms. So if the Kiwi Farms goes down again, which is possible, if yet another service gets pressured into dropping them, then it's possible that it'll disappear, like, forever from everything. Whereas at the very least, the Quickie is still up in many locations. It's still backed up in many locations. So it's just kind of coincidental that Chris's file was sealed within a week or two of the Kiwi Farms going down, but it's very unfortunate in that it kind of altered Chris Chan discourse. Throughout all of this, the Onion Farms has still been up. The Onion Farms is an offshoot of the Kiwi Farms, and it's never going to be as prestigious, if that's the right word, as the Kiwi Farms or as frequented. But it didn't go down during this. The people who wanted to talk about Chris could still go there. Letters were still being posted there by Kenneth Engelhart, who Chris was previously writing letters to. So I don't know, the entire situation is just a big cluster. So this video was kind of different. It was more just me ranting and rambling. I didn't have any news stories to pull up. I didn't have any letters to read. That's why the camera is kind of in a different spot than normal. It's more centered. And I just wanted to talk about what was happening and why what's happening is really that nothing is happening and that I don't know when the next update's going to be. Obviously, once again, I do cover things that aren't Chris Chan. If you're only here for him, then maybe you can check out some of those videos, some of those series. This video is really just me summarizing one or two tweets that I had while this news was breaking, and I don't really see myself doing updates like this too often in the future. So if you really want to get to the heart of the breaking news, please follow me on Twitter. I don't want to have to make a 2-minute update video to tell people that no, Chris Chen did not escape jail. And I hope that no one was offended when I was telling that story and laughing, because if you believed it, then that doesn't mean that you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're... I don't think that you're dumb. Sometimes people get swept up in headlines and trending stuff that they just think that there's an authoritative source behind it. And sometimes it takes some digging, it takes trying to find the source of information to try to find out who that source might be. And if there isn't one, then my go-to attitude is to just disregard it. I'm very skeptical as a person. I'd rather believe that something is false and have it be true than believe that something is true and have it be false. But you don't have to live your life like that. You can do whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to update you on a comic book creator who turned into a religious leader who's currently in jail, which is not a job I ever thought I would have, but look, here I am. Are you proud yet, Dad?